So we are talking about Sadguru Sadafaldeo Ji Maharaj. This is the fourth day about him, and in previous days we have talked about his previous journey, how the eternal master had honored him as a Sadguru in 1935-36, and then he declared his successor in just next 2 to 3 years after that, in 1938, to Dhamchand Dev Ji Maharaj. And not only that, he had declared that his turn will only be for 15 years and then someone else will come to take this role. Sadguru Sadafaldeo Ji Maharaj is a time traveler. His journey is not just limited to his physical mortal body. He is much more beyond that. In fact, he mentioned at one time that he is more powerful after leaving the mortal body. Earlier, when he was in his mortal body, he had to honor, respect the Prakriti, the nature. But Sadguru Sadafaldeo Ji Maharaj has always been telling that it doesn't matter whether I will be in this body or not. The propagation of this divine knowledge, the knowledge of spirituality, the secret knowledge of spirituality, it has to go to the whole world. It doesn't matter whether I will be in this mortal body or I will not be. And in fact, very interestingly, he mentioned that I have already propagated this secret knowledge of spirituality to the eligible souls. He said, I have already done this. But when the time comes and when at a specific time, the then master preceptors or the promoters will visit them, talk to them, approach them, those eligible souls will automatically get in touch, and then they will start practicing, and their journey of Brahma Vidya, their journey of Vihangam Yoga, their journey of divine spiritual path will automatically start with me. I have already imbibed the seed into the eligible souls. And think about it. When he took the oath that I will liberate at least 100,000 lives, it's not a random number. Even if you try to think about this on our normal intellect basis, analytical basis, it is not a random number. There has to have some reason, some calculation, and some overall picture to declare this number. And on that basis only, he said that I have already propagated the knowledge of Vihangam Yoga, the knowledge of secret Vihangam Yoga to the eligible people. And when the time comes, all those will come automatically get connected to this. So that means it may be possible. And in fact, that is the case, that the seed was put into them at one particular life. And in the next life or sometime later on, they again come to the earth with their birth. And once the people went to them to interact with them, to talk about Vihangam Yoga, they will automatically get connected to the practice and to the Sadguru. That's what he meant for. But someone has to understand, recognize, identify the true master. If you remember the first session of this series about the Guru, the generic, we had mentioned that there has to have a basis on the basis of which we identify the real master. But in our day-to-day life, in our normal life, if we have to identify, recognize the master, what are the immediate things which one can see and quickly understand whether this is the true master or not? Sadguru Sadafaldeo Ji Maharaj has mentioned a couple of things. I'm just telling few of them. He mentioned that master composes a unique spiritual book on the basis of his own experience, not by copying things from here and there. No, he will create a book on the basis of his own supreme spiritual experience, not by taking things from here and there. Sadguru Sadafaldeo Ji Maharaj has composed the book Swarved, into which there are roughly 4,000 couplets are there. All those couplets are on the basis of what Sadguru Sadafaldeo Ji Maharaj has experienced during his 17 years of strenuous penance. Whatever is mentioned in that book, it's not taken from this particular scripture, that particular scripture, here, there, and all those kind of things. No, it is all on the basis of his own spiritual experience, which he gained during the Samadhi state. The second one, he mentioned that he would make the people, normal people or the eligible people, realize, experience about the mind. That's the very basic one. Making realized means it's not just by telling. Realizing means you will get the experience where the mind resides in this body. That master will make an eligible person realize that. And that master can communicate with anyone on his own will by any medium. Some examples of those mediums can be by coming in the dream, or by doing some voice from the void, Navavani, Akashvani, appearing in front of that person in some form or in his own form. And lot many different kinds of ways are there based on which the master communicates to the eligible souls. And there are many more out of this. But these are the three basic ones based on which one can identify, realize, and recognize the true master. Sadguru Sadafaldeo Ji Maharaj has mentioned in Swarved that I know the complete cycle of the Brahma. What does this mean? This whole universe, not just universe, beyond this universe, whatever is there. He said, I know each and every bits and pieces of this. And when in 1954, at a pre-specified date, at a pre-specified time, in front of hundreds of people, when he left his mortal body on his own will, thereafter he mentioned that I am not going anywhere. I am not going anywhere. It's just an event, leaving my mortal body to honor the nature. I'm still there. I will be there. And I will do all those things which I have to do. It's my pledge to liberate at least 100,000 lives. And then only I will decide whether I have to be here or I go to my own superconscious zone. That he spoke for 15 minutes after leaving his body in front of hundreds of people in the ashram. Right now it is in Jhusi in Allahabad, Prayagraj. And at that time point he said that if today the scientists of the world would have been here, if the politicians of the world would have been here present right now, they would have seen how the yogi of India liberates his own body on his own will, and he is winning his own death. That's what he challenged at that time point. So Sadhguru Sadafaldeo Ji Maharaj's journey has been incredible enough. If you try to understand that on the basis of our normal day-to-day life, it is impossible for anyone. A yogi only can understand, identify, realize, experience the true meaning of the journey of another yogi. We all just can hear, just in words, we can imagine things on the basis of our life, whatever has happened with us and all those kind of things. If a very simple example is, if we are saying time traveler, none of us have an experience of being a time traveler, then we cannot imagine about what is the meaning of time traveler. We cannot. It's not possible. But those who have been at that level or to a certain extent towards that, they will realize, they will understand, they will certify, they will guarantee, yes, this is true. And those who have experienced Sadhguru Sadafaldeo Ji Maharaj in that form, they definitely know this. During the time of leaving his body, Sadhguru Sadafaldeo Ji Maharaj had mentioned to Dhamchanddev Ji Maharaj that till my mortal body is there, there will be some shortcomings inside you will be there. But once I will leave my mortal body, then you become the complete. Then the completeness will come into you and my power will flow from you. And I will guide you from my own zone of consciousness. You don't have to worry for anything means anything. That's what Sadguru Sadafaldeo Ji Maharaj told to Dhamchanddev Ji Maharaj. There is one incident which I want to share with everyone here about the time traveler kind of thing. Sadguru Dhamchanddev Ji Maharaj had made a question, or you can say a doubt, thinking, oh, Sadguru Sadafaldeo Maharaj is really a time traveler. He knows the past, the future, and everything. Does he? But he did not say that. He was just thinking, and that was coming in his mind, and he was analyzing few things. And Sadguru Sadafaldeo Maharaj was nearby, and he identified what Dhamchand Devji Maharaj is thinking without telling anything by Dhamchand Devji Maharaj. Sadguru Sadafaldeo Maharaj read his mind, and then he said, "Okay, so you have a doubt that whether I know everything or not. Okay, what do you want to know? Do you want to know which past life of yours? Which one? Tell me. I can tell you each and everything about that. Okay, forget about that. Let me tell you in the future what very small incident I'm going to tell you, and you will realize I know even such a small nitties and gritties of this whole universe and everything. What he told that, okay, let me do one thing. After I leave my body, this mortal body, after that, after a few months, you will go to a place near to Kolkata right now. You will go there, and you will go in a an ambassador car. And after you go from there, after a few minutes, see what I'm doing. I'm closing the engine of the car right now. See. I'm closing. I just shut down that engine. He said like this. I just shut down this engine. Okay, the car is stopped now. The driver will come out, try to understand what has happened. Nothing he will find. And then he will come back to you, and he will tell you that, did you do something? At that time point, you will tell him, okay, start the car after 1 or 2 minutes and check whether it is starting or not. And once after that, the driver will start, the car will start automatically because I have released it now. Dhamchandevji Maharaj, actually, after Sadhguru Sadafaldeo Maharaj left his mortal body, had actually gone to that place exactly the way Sadhguru Sadafaldeo Maharaj mentioned few years back. Exactly similar thing happened. He went in an ambassador car. After a few minutes, the car stopped on its own. And then Dhamchandevji Maharaj suddenly recalled what Swamiji had said. The driver is trying to understand what has happened. He could not find anything. He came back to his seat saying, I don't know what has happened, but the car is not starting. I don't know. There is nothing wrong in the car. Everything is fine. Dhamchandevji Maharaj was sitting quiet. And then he recalled Swamiji and he said, okay, after a few 2-3 minutes, you start the car engine, it will automatically start. Don't worry. And the same thing happened. So if we try to understand just this very simple incidents, our mind will just blown out. What Sadguru Sadafaldeo Maharaj is, we can't understand just by listening things or realizing things on the basis of our mind and on the basis of our intellect. It needs a different level. We'll talk more. Thank you very much for joining today.